Welcome to my channel, Better Monday Fasting. In today's video, I'll be talking about Geneva, Switzerland. It's the city where I grew up. So I would like to give my latest impressions about Geneva. And if we happen to talk about fasting and nothing I share in this video or on the channel is medical advice, so please do your own research before making any health-related decisions. So, Geneva. So I was born in Turkey in 1975, and in the last day of 1983, with my family, we made it to Switzerland. Then I lived in Switzerland until 1999, and so from 83 to 99 I was living here. So I'm kind of like, even originally I'm from Turkey, Ankara, Turkey. I mean, I can almost say I'm from Geneva, because I mean that's where I passed from being a child to an adult. So many things happen here, and I have more memories in Geneva than in Ankara. I also have great memories in Ankara, and especially time we were living there, it was very rock and roll. It wasn't politically yeah, it was and when I was born, I mean, what was normal for me, it's not it was a little shaky, but I was really happy. Actually, I was really happy as a child in Turkey. And look at the view, how beautiful it is. And even though in Switzerland, when we moved to Switzerland, I mean, our material life skyrocketed. I mean, it was I mean, you cannot not even compare. But my first years in Switzerland as a child, it was super difficult. I had a really hard time adapting to the Swiss culture. I didn't know the language, and when you come from your native language, is the Altaic language. So Turkish is even though they associate us with the Middle East and all that, but our language is closer to Japanese, believe it or not, grammatically and as a like structure, than any Latin languages. So it was really, even though I was a child, and I think I had a pretty good year, but and French is really difficult. Like, I mean, instead of learning French, you can learn 3 other languages. I mean, it's just really, to speak and write French at a good level, it's, even the natives, I mean, it's a skill. Sometimes I have friends, they're natives, like they send me emails, I'm like, oh, you need to brush up on your French spelling and grammar. And so yeah, like the first couple years, they were really difficult. And also, I lived in a village. Like, my dad didn't know how to drive, and he worked for like this international how do you call it, like institution. So he will walk like 45 minutes to work. So we're in this like Swiss village, and yeah, it was kind of difficult. And back then, it was Switzerland was way more Switzerland, or how should I say, Geneva was way more Swiss than it is now. I mean, it always had that like the international feel, but now it's more like expat central, you know. Back then, it wasn't it wasn't like that. And I think white collar, like Turkish immigrants, it was a very, I mean, you had very few of them, I think. So we're kind kind of an exception, I guess. So the first years they were difficult. The first couple years were like horrible for me, even though on a material level it was just unbelievable compared to what we had in Turkey. And but 2 years later, moved in my neighborhood this Japanese family, and I knew that they were also going to. So they had 3 kids, you know. One had my age, one was like 4 years younger, and one was a little bit older. And I knew that they were going to pick on him too, because you know, like he was foreigner, he wasn't white. So I went and ring to their door, and I was like, "Hey, I'm Ali, and welcome to Switzerland, and I'll be your friend." And so with the middle child of that family, we became like best friends. Like even to this day, he's my best friend. Like amazing guy. And yeah, it was just unbelievable. And so then we team up, you know, to defend ourselves. And I mean, we were kids. I mean, I think when we came to Switzerland, I was like 7 or 8, and then when they arrived, we were like 10 years. We were 10. So then, when I finished elementary school, then it started. Went to junior high, and that was like the breakthrough for me. All of a sudden, over there, I wasn't discriminated like I was in my own village. I don't know, it was great. And then I came, like the first year, it was like one of the first weeks of school, you know. And he was like 5 villages away in a town called Swoan. So you have Geneva, then you had our village was the first one from the city going towards like Lausanne. And this was like the 5th one or something, like, if I'm not mistaken, it's Swoan. And the first week or so, I'm there. I just happened to, so we are going to school by train, and coming back from school, I stopped the train. It was like, yeah, don't want to get too much into details, but somehow I stopped the train, and the train was stopped for more than 15 minutes, and you had like 6 other trains waiting in the back. I mean, it was a big deal. And then I got caught, and yeah, it was really bad. But then it turned me like into like a little star in Versoix. All of a sudden, I was accepted by the older kids. You know, usually they beat us up, you know, and to wish our welcome. But all of a sudden, they really respected me. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So, because I remember when I started junior high, I think I had like a fluorescent, like a ski, like a vest, you know, like, I mean, I was already listening to rock music, but, you know, I was kind of like this, you know, average Swiss kid. But then when I stopped the train, like there was like the chief of that, like a kind of a gang, I guess we can say. They were like anarchists, you know. And they were like, so we called that movement like New Wave. yeah, one of the chief guys, like he shook my hand. I think he was going to beat me up, but after stopping the train, he came to me. He was like, "Good job, man." And he shook my hand, and he was like, if you need anything, if anybody like your age messes with you, you let us know, and we take care of it, And I'm like, oh, okay. So I thought first when they were coming towards me, I thought they were going to beat me up, but it was actually to congratulate me to stop the Swiss train. And so just like then they were leaving. Yeah, I remember the guy's name was Kenan, and he wasn't Turkish. It's a Turkish name, but I think he was from Afghanistan. But he looked like very Asian, very scary. He would put like needles in his skin, those needles that you can close, like that. And he was like, he had earrings. I don't know if we had piercings back then, but he had earrings, but he was already piercing himself. And like all like bomber's jacket with the big anarchist A in the back and Doc Martens and stuff. So before he's leaving, like he's like, and by the way, so I'm wearing my fluorescent ski jacket, and he's like, by the way, just go buy yourself clothes, like. So I remember that weekend, that Saturday, we went with my mom. There was a American surplus, military surplus, and in Geneva, and we went there, and I bought like Doc Martens and like a black bomber, and changed. So I became like a new wave. And then my motorcycle, like you had to, because there was like the new waves and the Bennetts. I mean, it's like short for Benetton. So it will be more like the Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, like immigrant kids will be mostly more like Bennett. So they will dress up nice, like more like a bourgeois. And the other ones were the new waves. So we'll listen to punk, Sex Pistols, also things like Joy Division and things like that. And I was a big U2 fan. I mean, back then U2, he was, the first albums, he was very, I still love it. Like, it seems like he was kind of big, but I think they made the mainstream. Now, if somebody sounds like U2, well, it's like you say, oh, it's mainstream, but I don't know. Back then, if you take the first albums, who plays like The Edge, I don't know. Like for me, when I was discovering like all the early U2s, like it did not sound like mainstream at all. And before that, I had metal. The first bands I listened to as a child, it was like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and soon after it was Iron Maiden. Huge Iron Maiden fan, and that was also like because in Turkey they will sell like the Iron Maiden bootleg shirts, and I as a kid, the Iron, like with the Iron Maiden, like their font, the O, it looks a little bit like A. And for many years, like I thought like it was Iran Maiden, so like made in Iran. Like, and since they have the pyramids and stuff, like with Eddie, so I was just like, man, Iran rocks, like they're so cool. Like I thought it was something. It has something to do with Iran, the country, and I was a big fan. Just like, man, they're like, so I might even have like started wearing the shirts before listening to the music. And so when we came to Switzerland, I had a really good friend of mine, and she was into, her sister she had vinyls of Iron Maiden, so we'll listen And then my dad switched, so we had all these vinyls, and my dad switched to CD, and he was swearing by it. He's like, this is the new technology, this is gonna be great. CD, and look at that. This is it's really peaceful here. A little bit of construction going on here, but really nice. And so he was swearing by CD. So he bought a CD player. I think we were one of the first families to get a CD. He was all like, "Oh yeah, you know, you don't get any loss." And I mean, now we know that vinyl is so much better, but back then it was a big deal. So he bought this. It's a little bit annoying, the noise. Yeah, I'm trying to. So he, but I don't even know if they were selling CDs or like that many in Switzerland back then. And so my dad, he was on a business trip to business or maybe something else in England, and I think on his way back he wanted to get me Iron Maiden CD, and so he's all white collar, dressed up, you know, with the tie and everything, and so he goes to the store, buys it was a seventh son of a seventh son of Iron Maiden. So he gets the CD and he goes up to the cashier to pay. So the British dude looks at my dad, this Turkish guy with the mustache, all dressed up, you know, in business clothes, and he has seventh son of a seventh son. So he was like, "Sir, are you sure you want to purchase this?" You know, like the warning. It was like, you know, basically he told him like, "There's nothing we can do if you don't like it," or something like that. And well, in reality, I mean, it's just that, yeah, you should never. I mean, obviously, it was a gift for me, but I mean, my dad, he had. I mean, he is a. I mean, he hasn't played like rock instruments, but he had all these vinyls of like, you know, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, like all the Simon Garfunkel, and yeah, I mean, they knew about rock. Like the only thing with my parents we kind of disagreed with was like they were big Beatles fans, and for me it's just no. It wasn't. It didn't feel like they suffered enough. Like I don't know, like more Rolling Stones, more like yeah, I don't know. It's a personal taste, but like Alice in Chains, like Soundgarden, like it has to have this like little, I don't know, like darkness to it or melancholia, you name it. Like it has to have that energy. If it's too like la la la, but it's a great band. I mean, the sound and the songwriting. I mean, it's a boys band, like amazing boys band, the Beatles. But my parents, they were huge fans. I was, no, not that much. But the other stuff, yes. Also the classical music. My dad was really into classical music, and I loved the Mahler. Yeah, I loved like the things that were kind of. Yeah, I mean, my parents will tell me I was like 5 years old or something, and I will listen to the whole like symphony, and they will. I think it was the Fifth Symphony of, if I'm not mistaken, and they will switch there were several vinyls, and you have to switch and stuff, and I just loved it, and. So yeah, back to Switzerland. So I stayed until 1999 in Switzerland, and in Geneva. And in 1994, I started a band. I joined the band, I should say. I mean, I was the first bass player, but there was this trio called the Swoan, and they were looking for a bass player. And I joined that band, and then we switched guitar player and drummer, and we took in two friends of mine, and then that became the real lineup, the official lineup, so to speak. But what they were doing, even without bass, before I joined the band, it was so fucking great. Like it was different. Like when I joined, it kind of changed. It became maybe more, because I'm a metalhead I brought that, I think, at that energy. They were more like indie pop, like it was great. Like even the stuff, like I didn't participate in the writing. It was great, but we didn't keep that song. Like once we changed the whole lineup, we started from scratch. But I do have a lot of respect for what they did before, and I'm a fan. Like it was really good. Like it was really good stuff. Like really unique. And with that band, I mean, it was kind of promising band. Like we will play, even our first shows, there will be like 300 people showing up, you know. Then we got signed, and we even had like little articles in France and stuff. Oh, there's this promising Swiss band, and we were going to eventually tour Europe. We already have the posters like ready, and we were on the same tour management as Blonde Redhead. I mean, everything was like, we opened for Mogwai in 1998 or something like. But then we broke up, and all the 90s was like the golden age of Geneva, because besides all the banks and all that, we had all the illegal, like semi-illegal, I should say, squats. So people were squatting, and it was great. I mean, you had those, and they had like those squats. You know, the people, like artists, students, they will live in those squats, and they will have like illegal, like concert rooms and bars, and sell alcohol illegally, and it will be open until 6 in the morning, even though other places like closed at 2. So it was I call it the golden age, like all from 90 to 99 until I left. It was great. Like it was, Geneva was amazing. So then when the band broke up, I was really heartbroken, because I had the perfect Swiss indie rocker life. Like I had this band, everything was going well, and I had the prettiest, nicest, like a Turkish girlfriend. Like I really loved her, like and type of relationship where you love the person like every day a little bit more, you know. And so when the band broke, and I had like quit high school, like to dedicate myself to rock and roll. So when the band broke up, I was really, really heartbroken. I mean, my whole world collapsed, and I had so much. I was feeling so much pain, and I wanted to, you know, rock out. Like I didn't want to give up, and I was like, well, should I start all over again here? Like, knowing that in Switzerland, I mean, everything goes slow, and you don't have a pool of that many players, even though the quality is pretty high. And even during like that, with that band, the name of the band was Swoan. You can check it out. It's SWON. So we would. I was already trying to kind of convince them, hey guys, we should go to the US all together. And sometimes we will think it and stuff, but somehow, it didn't happen. It wasn't going to happen to go as a band. But then when the band broke up, I was like, wow, that's the opportunity, you know. So then I applied for a student visa. I signed up for classes, English classes. It was, I think, UCSD extension. I used to work for a grocery. I used to carry meat at night. I used to work at the meat factory. But the meat factory I was working for, it's one of the biggest companies in Switzerland. It's a co-op. It's for non-profit organization. It's called Migros, and they diversify. I mean, all the the benefits they make, they reinvest. So they have language schools, they have gas stations. I mean, you name it. They have it all. They run Switzerland, and they don't sell alcohol. So it's there. Look at that. I mean, come on. So I'm gonna try to keep it in the. So they were selling those classes, and so I was working there, and I don't remember exactly, but maybe it gave us some advantage as a workers to, you know, like self-actualization. So I think I started taking some English classes. Yeah, I started with that. In Geneva, I was taking some few English classes, and
well, I imagine the way it was.
And then I saw that they had this thing where, wow, you can go to the US and, you know, for 3 months and intensive, you know, English, blah blah blah, and they had New York, San Francisco, and San Diego. And so I kind of checked, you know, New York, and so it was too expensive. I mean, the classes were expensive, but also the cost of living and stuff. And then I was at San Diego. I've never heard like that name before, San Diego. So I'm like, okay, I sign up for San Diego. So I sign up for, and it was like classes at the UCSD extension. So it's not a university, but there's in campus they have those like cabins kind of like outside, and it's part of UCSD, but UCSD extension is called. So I signed up for classes there, and then I had the good idea to look at the map, where was San Diego. So looking at the map, and I'm like, dude, it's because back then, you know, all we knew from the US, I mean, internet was kind of starting. All we knew about the US was Hollywood, you know, Hollywood, the series, and since like the movies, it's more like action and crime, so you kind of have a bad, like you think like from back then we thought, you know, everybody's shooting at each other, like, you know. So I'm looking at where San Diego is. It's like, I'm like, dude, it's south of LA. I mean, and it's north of Tijuana. It's north of Mexico, south of Los Angeles, and the reputation of Los Angeles, I mean, from Europe back then in the 90s. I'm like, this is going to be hell. Like, I start like tripping, and I'm like, it's gonna be so dangerous, you know. And but then, you know, I go to San Diego, and it's like the nicest city in the US, you know. But first I was really, yeah, and even my first days, I think I was like living between my first, like I was renting a room, and it was between Claremont and La Jolla, you know, a really nice neighborhood. And at one point I purchased a bike, and I will go to the AMC, watch movies and stuff, and And one night I remember I was like near where they have the Mormon church, you know. I mean, it must be the safest place in the U.S. And I was tripping out, like I was so scared. I was like, there's nobody on the streets, and I was like, man, you're in, you're in California, you're close to the Mexican border, and they're gonna come get you. And yeah, it was kind of fun. Now when I think about it, it's like, because then later I lived in North Park, Normal Heights, Pacific Beach. First Pacific, like I went all from the most bourgeois to, it was San Diego. I did so La Jolla, Claremont, Pacific Beach. In Pacific Beach we had 2 locations. Second one was really close to the beach. It was really nice, 4 blocks from the beach, and my roommate got me a job on the right on the beach. There's a coffee shop, and that's where I started learning the barista skills. And yeah, it was amazing. And then I went to North Park. Then from North Park to Normal Heights. No, you know, no, yeah, Normal Heights. That was kind of my. And I'm sure if I had stayed in San Diego, maybe I would have ended up in El Cajon or something, because it's, after a while with gentrification, you always go east, you know, like. And so I stayed 11 and a half years in the US. It was just amazing experience. Altogether, good and bad stuff, but just like a movie. And in 2011, I mean, that's the topic of the video, Geneva. So in 2011, I came back to Geneva, got a job, and a good paying job, and then I got a promotion and everything. And back then, I was really, first of all, I was nostalgic of San Diego, and I thought that it was a huge mistake that I left San Diego. So I was kind of bummed about that. Even though I was making good money, everything was like perfect little Swiss life. I was missing San Diego, and I was missing the old Geneva. Like, I mean, in 2011, it was like all those squats, I mean, most of them had closed, and it was very gentrified, and it was like, you kind of felt like there was a lot of expats here, like English-speaking expats, and they were bringing their culture, but it wasn't, there was almost like some resistance. I mean, it was like the old Geneva versus the new. It was like very hard to find a place to live, even if you had money, and so it was very, yeah, I didn't like it, but professionally it was interesting, and financially it was interesting. So I worked 5 years at a startup, and then I was unemployed for a year, and then I decided to go to Latin America. In 2017, I moved to Argentina, then I became nomad, lived as a nomad, and in 2024, I decided to settle down in Paraguay. And since I settled down, and it looks like my mom, she might go back to Turkey. So I organized this trip to go to Turkey and here to bring, now that I'm settling down. I mean, I will never settle down, like it's kind of contrary to my nature, but now that I have a place, I have at least I have storage, I have somewhere where I'm resident, you know. So I decided to organize this trip to bring my belongings back that I have in Switzerland, and Turkey, and close some bank accounts, things like that, do some administrative stuff, and go back to Paraguay. And to my surprise, Geneva has gotten really good, like way better than in 2011 and in 2017. Now it's like, yeah, because I was kind of following what's going in Europe, and like, you know, it's kind of depressing. Like, you know, in Great Britain, France, you know, I'm gonna do some grounding. There we have some grass here. It's just beautiful, like Geneva in the summer. Yeah, I don't understand. Like with my family too, we will always during the summers we would go to Turkey every summer, and sometimes stay up to 3 months. You know, when I was still a student, and but it's not smart. Like, I think one should, if you live in Geneva, you stay the summer here because you have all these parks, you have the lake, you have all these beaches, you can swim in the best water in the world. Like, so it's smarter to stay in Geneva during the summer, and since everybody leaves, like the city breathes more, you know. And then you take your vacation time, because back then when I was working here, we had 5 weeks, without counting the, you know, all the feriados, like all the national holidays and all that, you know, and the cantonal holidays. So yeah, basically you have a lot of free time. But those 5 weeks, you know, use them in when it's the winter here, you know, and maybe go to Argentina where the summer there, or go to Asia, because when you work here you have huge buying power, you know. So I think it's a better strategy. You work, and also a lot of the companies, they will love you because you'll be working when everybody wants to go to vacation to Greece, to Spain, to Turkey, and you stay, you do your job, and then during the winter you go to an exotic place, and I think that's way smarter to do it that way. I think I've done it a little bit, like on my last. That's how I discovered Argentina. It was I took my weeks during it was January or something, no, December. Yeah, December 2014. That's the first time I went to Argentina, and it was great. I mean, it was like -1 or something here, and I go to Argentina, and it was summer, and back then it was really tense here. There's a lot of like you know, terrorist attacks, and so the airports and stuff, it was really a lot of checks, and like, yeah, it was kind of tense. And I go to Argentina, and the border officers there, you know, they're all like rocker kids with tattoos and stuff. Hey, hola, ¿cómo te va? Really welcoming, really nice. They're working, but you feel like they're having the time of their life, you know. It's like you're like, is this the border patrol or it's a high school, you know? Like, it's yeah. So it was. So I fell in love. I fell in love with Buenos Aires, which is yeah, it's really interesting because so then I went. So I went 3 times before moving for good there, and I was like, wow, this is the best place on earth, and I was really, yeah, I fell in love with Buenos Aires. And then the 4th time when I went there and I started, you know, doing the paperwork to get residency, and yeah, all the things of life once you live there. And I wanted to open a coffee shop, and that's where like I I saw the real Buenos Aires, you know, the real people, like, and I was like, man, how did, like, I was so naive, like, I didn't, yeah, I went plenty of times, but I didn't see it, you know, I didn't see the reality until I lived there. And then it was, then I didn't like it. I mean, it was a love-hate relationship. It's a little bit like Istanbul. Like, the great stuff is great, and the bad stuff is bad, but it's taxing, you know. It's really, it takes something from you, like cities like that, and the people, like, it's superficial to a level you want. I mean, I lived 11 and a half years in Southern California, just to give you a reference, and Southern California, they can't compete. If Southern California is 1, Buenos Aires is 10. Like, so superficial, so cutthroat, so, yeah, people only, I mean, not everybody, obviously, and the good thing is, like, you have a lot of foreigners, like Venezuelans and stuff, and yeah, with the foreigners, I'll get really, I made great friendships, but the Porteños, I don't want to say the Argentinians, because even the Argentinians, they're shocked with like with the Porteños. It's a specific culture, you know. You got to live it to understand. And yeah, so I'm gonna come back to the Swiss topic. So this time around, so it's 2025. I'm in Geneva, and so they had a lot of projects, you know, to make the city better. And so they completed a good number of them, and there's one huge that is gonna take place. They're gonna build like almost a new Geneva inside of Geneva. But overall, it's great. Like, I mean, it's like they put nature and lifestyle and pedestrians at the center of, you know, the urban politics, and it just works. Like, even though I'm like politically, like the whole like carbon footprint and like all that stuff, it's really not my cup of tea, and I don't believe in it, you know. But somehow in Geneva, like, it works. Like, even socialism, like it's not my cup of tea, but in Geneva they do a good job. Like immigrationism, I don't know if you say it like that, but I mean the integration of foreigners, like in Switzerland, it really, I mean, I'm part of it, and it's great. I mean, there's no that tension that you have, for example, in France, you know. Like us as Muslims in Switzerland, we have no problem with anyone, and nobody has problems with us. Like we live as Swiss citizens. Like I mean, sometimes you have some racism. I mean, you're in Europe. I mean, Europe is by nature pretty racist, but nothing to do with France, because there's no colonial past. You know, there is no colonial past. And the profile of the Swiss Muslims, it's, I mean, in France, it's more like Northern Africans, who speak Arabic, you know, mostly. And Switzerland is more Turks and people from ex-Yugoslavia, you know. So it's in those countries, like the approach to Islam is it's different. I mean, yeah, I mean, every country has its own culture. I mean, like Muslims, Islam, it's not like a unified thing, you know. It's a very, but I think maybe the Islam that is practiced in Turkey and in the Balkans, maybe it's more, because maybe we're geographically closer to Europe, maybe it's more, I don't want to say compatible, but yeah, maybe it is. Like, maybe it's and there's no colonial past, so it's not like you have a Bosnian Muslim coming here and he has a reason to hate like white Swiss people, you know. There's no reason. There's no. I mean, Swiss people, they haven't done anything bad. I mean, they have a, maybe they've done bad things, but not like they're no colonial, you know. So they didn't go invade other people's countries and force them to speak their language or impose their religion. Like there's no history like that. But yeah, it's just yeah, it's hard to admit it, but I think the left works well in Switzerland. I mean, as a libertarian, it's, I mean, that's not my cup of tea as politics, but you know, if something is successful, you gotta say it, you know. And it is successful. Maybe it's hard to not be successful with all the money that is in Switzerland. So maybe, but it wasn't as cool as it is now. In the, look at that. I mean, like the ugliest thing on the image is me. The rest is really, oh my God, so beautiful. Beautiful. Switzerland beautiful, Geneva beautiful. I mean, come on, like how more beautiful it can be. And so now it's great, and also like culturally, you know, like Geneva was very, you know, native Genevans. They're kind of backwards, you know, they're kind of grumpy. They complain all the time, and it's like they're not very nice, you know, like they're not very nice people. Like in terms of chit chat, but once you know them, once they accept you, which takes at least 10 years to make your first friend in Geneva, then they're really cool. But now what happened is that that whole Anglo-Saxon expat culture kind of loosened up Geneva, and all the old racist generation, well, I think they're dying, you know. And the kids that are coming, they're maybe more open to foreigners, and they're more mixed. I think 40% of Geneva, it's like foreign, something like that, and even higher percentage is even the Swiss living in Geneva. Somehow they have a good percentage. They have like a grandpa or parent, somebody was like, they have like a foreign connection. So to give you an idea, so now it's very, I mean, in comparison to when we moved here in '83, now it's very, even more international, and now it's part of the culture. I mean, I remember we'll go, because we had money and stuff, I mean, we'll go to restaurants and stuff, and just because my parents had accents, you know, they will treat us they will kind of look down on us, you know. And sometimes, like, my dad will make me order the food because I didn't have a heavy Turkish accent. But it's like, and that's gone now. Like, people are, I mean, it's not California, but they're really nice when you go. They're really nice, and even the most like traditional Swiss businesses, they start having that bohemian, or how do you call it, a bohemian bourgeois feel. Like everything is a little bit more trendy, you know, because that's where the money is, you know, because you have all these international organizations that pay high salaries, and all those like English-speaking expats, they wanna have the experience they have in the US, in the UK, and stuff. And but now, like the way I see, I mean, even though maybe there's a loss of culture, but the real Geneva culture, I mean, it wasn't all that nice, you know. It wasn't all that friendly. So on one hand you have that, and you have all the racist old people dying. I mean, in my apartment building there's this Norwegian woman that like really hated us because we're Turkish, like really, and she will do like passive aggressive stuff, I'll be at the grocery store, she will block me, so I bump into her, and then I'm the aggressor, like she'll do crazy stuff, and I think she's dead. Like I don't see her around, and so it's great. Like I won't go pee on her grave, but I mean, it's good. I'm not. And we shouldn't be happy that someone dies, but when you live without knowing people, you have hatred, and I mean, how can you have? I mean, maybe I have long hair. Okay, I'm a man. Like, okay, say there's a generational thing. She hates me. I understand, but my mom, she's 8 years old. Like, why you hate a woman that is 8 years old because she's Turkish? I mean, come on. So when you die, we're not going to be sad. And yeah, like I said before, the youth, well, they're a little there's what kind of bothers me is like they kind of embrace those ideologies, they paint their fingernail, and there's they don't want to identify with gender and all that. I mean, to me, I'm sorry, I mean, maybe I'm an old fart, but that's bullshit. But when you see what they're doing artistically, what they're creating, their mentality other than ideology, it's good. So they're bringing something on the table, and I'm like, dude, like that's great, because Europe is dying and Geneva is thriving. So it's kind of I wasn't expecting that. I'm really shocked in a good way. But how long it can sustain it if Europe collapses, because you're in the middle of the European continent, even though, I mean, the advantage of Switzerland is like they're not in the European Union, and Iceland either, and Norway either, and those countries, they're doing really well, but they don't talk to you about that. Like, that should say something. All those countries that they refuse to be in the European Union, well, I mean, Norway. Come on, like the Norway National Fund or something, they have I don't know how much it's worth, but I mean, technically, I think every Norwegian citizen should be a millionaire. I mean, when you divide how much that fund is, because Norway is like 4 million people, or like, it's really, I mean, on the map it looks big because it's a European-centered map and it's in the north. So it looks all stretched out and stuff, but they only have 4 million people. I mean, that will be a district of Istanbul, like, and a country like that, they have a lot of money, and they're not in the European Union. So you understood my point, I think. So yeah. So really happy to be in Geneva. Like now I'm almost, before booking my trip here, it was almost like booking a dentist appointment. I wanted to, how do you say that? Get it done. So I only booked like 16 days, but now I'm like, I should have booked a little bit more. One, because I had way more things to do than I thought. Way more things to do. And also I socialized with old friends. So that always happens to me, because I don't want to use cable. I don't want to use Bluetooth. And socializing with old friends. And they're doing great. That's also, I mean, they all like succeeded, and they have kids, and very successful, all of them, and they do music, and yeah, it's great. Like the life in Geneva, it's like, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. There's something, I mean, more than I like it or I don't like it, it's just I don't feel well here. There's, in terms of magnetic energy, since childhood I struggle in Geneva. Even now, like I'm not myself, and I don't know what it is, because there's a project here, and I used to live on top of it. My village is kind of on top of that project, and it's the CERN. I don't know if you're familiar. Like it's a huge, like a ring, and they shoot like atoms, and they try to they do experiments, and I don't know, it might be affecting people who are sensitive to magnetic energy like myself. So that's one of my theories, or I don't know what it is. Like it's just it's maybe the nicest, the richest place I lived in, and where everything on paper is the easiest, and that's the place where I struggled the most. And I left a place like that to go to Paraguay, and in Paraguay I feel alive. I feel myself, even though those little things of life, they're way more difficult there, but somehow it keeps me alive, it keeps me motivated, and that's why life is very interesting, and it's worth be living, and it's good to put oneself in different situations, because we learn, we learn about ourselves, and we discover. I mean, if I had never left Geneva, I would have missed out a lot in life. I mean, California was great. Like the Latin American adventure is great still. Going back to Turkey is great. I mean, why limit myself to one place because it's comfy? No, I mean, it's just I only have one life. But I'm happy. Like I arrived to Geneva the day of my 50th birthday. So I was able to celebrate my birthday half day in Turkey and half day in Geneva, in my two countries. So that's really that was something. It had his like a poetic feel. So I was able to celebrate. There's a kid who wants to be on the video and is like singing, so I cannot record in peace. So I'm gonna put back my shoes and get away from that kid. And he really wants to be on the video. He really wants to record. Maybe we should start the band. And so that was great. Like, so I come to Geneva. I turned 50. And one thing, I mean, I'm doing certain things like here, like, renewing my glasses and, getting a new computer, things like that. Because, I mean, you might think, oh, Switzerland is really expensive. Why you do that in Switzerland? But one, I mean, the Swiss things are really well done. And believe it or not, like to get like a Mac or something, it costs you less in Switzerland than in Turkey or in Latin America. And also, I bought once a Mac in Turkey, and I had all kinds of problems, like hardware problems. And maybe I might have gotten just unlucky, but I have this suspicion that they send the lesser quality stuff to Turkey. Like I have that because they will do that with instruments. Like even guitars and stuff. Fender and like all the good ones, they stay in the US and things like that. I mean, it's always going to have a standard, but there's good and there's great, and that's a little bit my suspicion. I mean, it should be harder to do with something like electronics, but I had all this, even though it was like M1, back then it was the M1 chip and MacBook Pro and all that, and I had all kinds of I had to do a lot of updates, and I had to run a lot of things to make it work like I wanted, but I felt like it wasn't. And then at the end, that's why I'm changing it. I start having this like I think it's a problem with the graphic card. I don't think it's a physical problem with the screen, but I start having those lines, you know. So I probably reformat it, like and see what can I get out of it to have at least a backup computer. And it's so difficult in Latin America to have access to those nice computers and stuff. And when you do what I do, it's like it's not a luxury. I mean, it's like, you know, when you're in online business, e-commerce and stuff, like, I mean, you need that. I mean, you need good stuff. You need to be organized. So yeah, I'm like taking care of all those all those things. I think I a little bit lost my thought. I wanted to say something, but overall, Geneva, really cool. Really, I mean, I still wouldn't want to live here anymore. Like, it just doesn't work for me. Like, there's something about it. Like, it's yeah, I never really fit in. Like, even though it's like it's my country, and that's maybe the place where I spend the most time in my life, and I feel like I'm from here. I resonate with a lot of things here, and I have built great friendships. But yeah, it's not the best place for me. Like, somehow it's just I don't perform well, and for a long time I wasn't sitting well because of my background, and I think now it would be a lesser problem now that everybody is a foreigner. Like, I think that shouldn't be a problem anymore. But the way I feel physically and stuff, like oh yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you. Like, okay, I remember now. So, you know, I turned 50. That was my I turned 50, and I wanted to order the glasses as soon as possible, because they have to. I'm still waiting. I'm a little bit like stressed out, and I'm actually going to rent the glasses. They have this new system that is great. Instead of buying them, you rent them, and if they get stolen, they replace. If there is your eye changes, they replace. So it's a good. But they lock you in for like 26 months or something, and it's at the end of the day, it's pricey, but at least you don't have to put in the money now. So you pay as you go. So that's good news. So I go in there, you know, like to see how much it costs and stuff, and I was still in their computer, you know, because I had bought my glasses like 10 years ago from them. And I just turned 50, you know, but I mean, nothing changed. I feel the same dude. And I feel like I'm the same dude. And the guy, he tells me, oh, now that you're like a senior citizen, we have a great discount. You know, I'm like, no. I felt so, because I so don't relate to my age. And getting like senior citizen discounts, like, oh my God, I almost didn't want to. No, keep your discounts. I don't want to. I don't feel 50. But it was like, you know, because I was like in that mentality, I don't relate to my age, everything is great. And I come to Switzerland, I turn 50 today, and the next day, you know, I got that, yeah, and also for the eye, they're saying, yeah, you know, it's all formatted. Like, they don't give you a chance that you might be different. They're like, oh, now you're going to start losing a little bit, you know, you're going to get more condition, and you're going to start losing your sight little by little. Like, no, I'm not. It's just like I will fight for not losing anything. It's but everything is formatted, you know, like, oh, at 50 or like that. Yeah, no, because I'm not doing all the bad stuff the 50 years olds are doing, you know. You know, I take care of myself. I don't eat carbs. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I go to the sauna every day in Asuncion. I go to the gym every day. Like, no, like that won't happen to me, even though I have really bad sight. That's a problem. Maybe I'll get an operation or something, but I'm a little nervous about that. So that's the Geneva report. You know, if you want to take a look at that beauty, that's the Geneva report. It's super hot today. It's a super hot day, and so to wrap everything up, like, so I'm a musician. If you're interested in my music, my main project is Black Sea Storm. I put all the links below. I also played in a band in San Diego called Channing Cope, and in Switzerland I was playing in a band called Swoan. Those are my musical outlets. And this channel is dedicated to fasting, and like the name of the channel, I have a website called bettermondayfasting.com where you can book coaching with me, or you can I have an online course, how to become your own fasting coach. You can take the course, or you can read my book, For a Better Monday. And if you live in the US and you wanna support your fasting with electrolytes, I have a great product called fasting electrolytes with no flavoring, no sugar, no additives, and it's available on Amazon and on our Shopify store, and my brand is called YouthLyte. The product is called fasting electrolytes. So those are my outlets if you're interested, and thank you for watching the video. I'll be here for a little bit more time, and then I go back to Turkey, gather everything, and then Paraguay. I miss Paraguay. I miss my girlfriend. I miss the adventure and going back on track with everything, because all this like logistic stuff, it became a job in itself, and I forgot how, even though Switzerland is very well organized and everything, it's kind of slow. Yeah, people are, it's kind of, they're not stressing out, like it's very slow, and sometimes it feels like, even when I see families and stuff, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I'm no one to say that, to judge, because actually I struggled a lot in Switzerland. But to me, from the outside, it looks like they're playing mom and dad, you know, that it's not real, like everything is so perfect. You know, honey, I'm going to work, and they go to work and they come and they do, I mean, their life is so balanced, and they have everything they need, and so it kind of it doesn't feel like life. It feels like you're playing at life from the outside. Then the reality is different. You know, I had moments where I was miserable here, and I mean the suicide rate is really high in Switzerland. It's like a taboo, but there are a lot of unhappy people, and life is so expensive that you actually have poverty in Switzerland. I mean, it sounds kind of like there's construction there, so I'm going to finish the video over here. It sounds like hard to believe, but yeah, I mean, here if you're not making those, I mean, even with 4,000 Swiss francs, you're going to struggle here. Which, like with $2,500 in Colombia, you will live like a king, you know. Here with 4,000 or 5,000, it might be a struggle if you're alone, you know. So yeah, it's a different world. So like, yeah, if you're making good money and stuff, it's going to be great, and it's going to be great when you travel. But Also, you know, to make all that happen, there's like it's not a crazy tax system like in France, but still you have to pay taxes, and there's a lot of the medical insurance is mandatory. Yeah, you have a lot of expenses, so it's not. I mean, you have people struggling. Don't get me wrong. You have people struggling, and also when you don't have real problems in life, it's actually very dangerous. You know, that's when you get depressed because you have the luxury to be depressed. Because yeah, like a guy living in the Brazilian favelas, he doesn't have time to be depressed. You know, all his waking hours, he has to find solutions to survive. So that keeps him far away from depression. But in more Nordic countries, yeah, I mean, the danger comes from where you're expecting it to less, you know. So when you don't have real problems, you start inventing problems, or minor things bother you because you're used to that almost perfect standard of living. So sometimes I see it with waiters and stuff, like you know, like it's a little bit busy and they cannot handle it. They're like, oh, you know, like, hey dude, like, yeah, I mean, go work in the US as a waiter. You'll see. You go work in Turkey as a waiter. You go work in Latin America, like you're making 25 Swiss francs an hour plus tips. I mean, so don't get too yeah, they're really or they say, the other day with a friend we went to drink, and then the lady, she comes and she's like, yeah, we want to go home, so you know, pay the bills, please. You know, it's like, yeah, okay. So yeah, it's a different, it's a different reality, and but all positive. Like it's like I'm really happy for my friends, because I was kind of worried, you know. From my point of view, it's like Europe is going to collapse. So I'm kind of preaching for Paraguay, bring my friends to Paraguay, but Switzerland is doing great. Like, so how long they can keep it that way, even if around them things start going south, I don't know. But yeah, it makes me happy that things are going great, and people I know individually, they're doing really good. They're really happy. They have bigger accomplishments, and that makes me happy. So thank you for watching this video, and I see you in another video on the channel. And I want to finish with this view of Geneva. Take care.